Hello, everyone. Today we are going to go over a process for how to write a research paper. Today, I am the student. I have read your discussions on the discussion board. I've listened to you and I have made some notes about what you're interested in regarding a research paper. And so I've taken some notes. I'm going to share those notes with you. And based on your interests, I am going to create a working thesis and an outline. Okay, let's get right to it. All right. First, thank you all for teaching me. Okay. It is through your ideas that I learn and I begin to think about things, think deeply, and then I can more likely write something that is going to be engaging, something that I'm going to want to write about. Okay, so I am going to briefly mention some people's ideas regarding the topic of social media / networking. All right. First comment. Social media and educational institutions. There's a place for it. I feel it should always remain a side tool for face-to-face campus classes and activity. There's nothing equal to the experience of being with people, feeling, growing, engaging other human beings. That's where it's at for me. I don't ever want that to change. Someone else discussed the concept of social media addiction. All right? Someone else quoted the lecture. Social media mining is a business, and their goal is not to connect you, but rather make you confess. Someone else was interested in quitting social media. Actually, I believe this person stated that he does not have any social media accounts. He quit social media some years ago. A few of you were very interested in the effects that social media has on individuals, right? And so I'm quoting here the concept of individuals because that's an interesting concept for you all, but it's somewhat unclear for me, right? And so you'll see how I deal with this topic here in a moment, okay? Someone else dealt with the idea that on social media there's overwhelming propaganda. Someone else stated that social media has a big effect on the way we communicate. Someone else, friendships. The idea of friends is being distorted because of social media. Someone else stated that they were questioning what's underneath the screen. What's underneath the screen of your phone, right? And here we're dealing with the concept of privacy invasion, right? Someone else stated that they appreciated the very bold discussion that was happening regarding the concept, because many people, out on the streets simply don't take this subject very seriously. And this is a very serious discussion that requires a bold discussion of the topic. Someone else interested in fake news, fake reality. Someone else discussing how we are voluntarily giving up our privacy. Okay. And finally, one of the other, the last point that I thought was very interesting based on your discussions was this question: is social media mandatory? Is it mandatory in our day and age? Okay, and so these are the topics, these are the issues I'm going to deal with in my working thesis and my working outline for a research paper. Now, I've got a lot of information that you all have given me, and I'm very interested in this. And this is exactly how you can go about thinking about your research paper, right? Have conversations about your topic. Talk with friends. Talk with coworkers. Talk with family members. Of course, use our discussion board to flesh out your ideas so that you could really find out what interests you, what you're passionate about. Because if you don't find a topic that you really want to write about, you know what's going to happen. It's no secret here. The research paper will be a chore instead of a joy. And as much as possible, we want to make it a joy. We want to make it a tool for you to explore yourself and the topic, right? To find out, what do you really think about the topic? Okay, now I have created this thesis and outline, and I just want to say this. I want to start with a disclaimer. Please do not assume that the working thesis statement that I have is the type of working thesis statement that you should have. You do not have to take a position like mine. And in fact, I'm just going to confess to you right now that this is not necessarily my perspective right here, okay? Of course, I wrote it, so it is ultimately a perspective that I have and that I can have. I think it's an intelligent, reasonable perspective, but I just want you all to know that this thesis and outline is based on your discussion. So you all have guided me to what I should write about. So I'm making that disclaimer because I don't want anyone thinking, oh, wow, I got to have the same kind of viewpoint as Boxiera has, right? That will get me something like a good grade, or, that will be a satisfactory paper. No. First, foremost, write about what you want to write about, okay? Now, I'm going to begin with the research paper sample, working thesis, and outline for an 8 to 10 page MLA style research paper, okay? And I am going to go over my working thesis, and I'm going to go over each body paragraph, all right? You can see all of this on the screen, all right? And by the end of my outline, you will see that I have a total of approximately 16 paragraphs, okay? One introductory paragraph, 14 body paragraphs, and one conclusion paragraph, all right? That would be approximately 10 MLA style pages, all right? And I have included approximately 8 sources that I can use for this research paper, okay? So I have done that based on what you all have given me, okay? All right, so let's begin now, and let's break down how I would organize this information. All right. Of course, I would start out with an introduction. And remember, the purpose of the introduction is to introduce the topic. And most importantly, it is to introduce, to narrow down the topic by ending with the thesis statement. The thesis statement is a specific and significant assertion about the topic. All right. And in this case, the topic is social media. All right. And this is my working thesis. And I call this a working thesis. I call this, what you're about to look at and hear, a working outline, because none of it is final until I have to submit that final draft. Okay, this is the working thesis. Although social media can have some positive benefits, ultimately it is a negative data collection business tool that addicts its users. Therefore, people should quit or minimize their social media use. Now, that is the point that I must prove in my body. I am not supposed to be proving anything in my introduction. I am supposed to simply introduce the topic. I save all my research. I save all my proof for my body paragraphs. And in this paper, because it's supposed to be an 8 to 10 page paper, I imagine the way that I have outlined 14 body paragraphs. All right. So now let's get to the body of my essay, which is, of course, the proof, the development. All right. This is where I will prove my thesis. Body paragraph 1. I confront the idea of what is social media, right? I will briefly go into, a history of social media and the benefits of social media. I think it would be at this point extremely interesting to see what does social media portray itself to be. This will be my first use of research. I am going to give you the biggest social media platform's mission statement. Facebook has a mission statement. And, I would cite that material and I would show you that social media, Facebook, for example, is saying that they care about joining communities, they care about people networking and learning from each other, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not totally false. I mean, I would discuss that in that paragraph, that social media can have very positive benefits. It can build communities and activist groups, and can work well for business, etc. Right? This is based on a lot of different proofs in the world. Okay, all right. So I would start with my first body paragraph. Almost functions as a counter argument paragraph. Now, I am not saying that you need a counter argument, but for me, I would like to put that counter argument right in there. Something else I want to discuss before we continue. I have used your information based on your discussion, and I have gone from a broad concept. I'm going in my body from a broad concept. So I start with the general idea of social media, technology, etc. And then I start narrowing down in my middle body paragraphs to the effects on the individual. And I end the essay with the power of individuals. The power of individuals. So that's how I used your discussion board and integrated it into my working outline. Let's go into body paragraph 2. Body paragraph 2, I would talk about now the goal of not just social media, but of technology. I would discuss the concept of technique. And for this, I would use a French sociologist, philosopher. His name was Jaques Ellul. And he believed, and he wrote in a book called The Technological Society, really very interesting book. He believed that efficiency is always the ultimate goal of technology. Efficiency. And based on that, if we are in a capitalist system, technology will be used to make profits more efficiently. Some of us would question that. Well, what does that mean in our technological age? Well, that means that the product, the capital in this new system of capitalism, that is a mixture of capitalism and technology and social media, etc., right? The product is your brain. The product is your brain, right? They make money off of your brain, all right? That is technology's goal. They want to do it in the most efficient manner. And in body paragraphs 3 and 4, I am going to begin to discuss that. Now, I have made this 2 body paragraphs because I think it requires a very thorough discussion. The question that would guide these 2 body paragraphs are this: what's underneath the screen? Right? So you think you're looking at a device that gives you images and gives you funny cat videos and a place where you can, connect with your friends and hook up with strangers, or, gamble, or do whatever you want to do, right? And an Israeli scholar, Yuval Harari, tells us that's not what's happening. Actually, what the main goal is that underneath the screen is a technological device that is designed to invade your privacy, to collect data regarding how you think, how you act, how you function, and these algorithms that are created based on your use of the device. These algorithms learn you better than you know yourself. And I'm gaining a lot of that information from Yuval Harari's 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. All right? That's 2 paragraphs worth of a discussion. Body paragraphs 5 and 6. Here, I'm also going to devote 2 body paragraphs to a very big discussion, because I feel that my readers would need an understanding of social media, technology, economics, right? This is the biggest business humankind has ever known, right? Social media, technology, the algorithms, the cloud. This is bigger business than the oil business. This is bigger business than the auto manufacturing business. This is bigger business than entertainment, right? So what is this all about? How do they make money off of this, right? And it's not just advertisements, right? That's the cliche response, that they're making money off advertisement, right? Of course they are making money off advertisement, but that's a small part of the business. The big business is this: we want to mine your brain. Right? We want to mine your brain, and we want to extract how human beings think so that we can predict, so that we can control, so that we can manipulate, so that we can sell the data to other people, etc., etc. And there's so much possibility here that I would argue they don't even know how they will be using all of this data in the future. It is just being stored for posterity as well, right? For example, I'll just bring this up right now. Will my data be used to affect my children? Will my data be used 100 years from now, when I'm long gone, right, to say something about, I don't know, my demographic group, Latinos from San Francisco, from the Mission District, right? We simply do not understand exactly how it will be used, but business people know that this is the biggest business in the history of humankind. Now, there's a lot of research out there that would discuss this. I would like to go into a scholar by the name of Cal Newport to discuss some of these concepts, right? And in his book, he has two books that I'm going to use for this project. One of them is called Deep Work, and the other is called Digital Minimalism. And in these books, he cites many sources, right? He's a professor, I believe, at Georgetown, right? And he's in the computer science department. So it's very interesting. I feel like he's a very interesting scholar because he's in the field of computer science, and he's basically against this, mass invasion into our privacy, right? And this mass data collection, right, of technology, okay? But in those books, he references many other scholars, and I would use those people as well that he cites. All right, let's move on. Body paragraph 7. I would discuss the topic of addiction, right? So now notice, right? So I just want to briefly go into my logic for how I am presenting the ideas here. Note that I've gone from a very broad topic of technology, social media, right? And then, I went into the business of social media, right? And the business part, of course, is meant for profit building. The corporations want to make profit, right? Okay. And, they're going to try to make profit by any means necessary, right? And in this body paragraph, I really want to focus on the topic of social media attention engineers. So that's what they're called. They are attention engineers. So these people are computer scientists, psychologists, sociologists, right? And they study people. They study their eye movements. They study who they are. They study what kind of music they listen to. They study what kind of images they like, right? And they make predictions about how they can keep people addicted to the screen, going into their product. For example, Facebook, right? So there are many scholarly articles regarding this, right? And I would use those scholarly articles, perhaps psychology articles, to show that these social media attention engineers, their goal is to get people addicted to social media products, right? And that is what happens, right? And so that would explain, in my paper, I would hope that would explain why so many people are always on social media. Body paragraph 8, I would go into another negative topic regarding social media, right? And that is propaganda, fake news, okay, all right? And here there is overwhelming propaganda, fake news on social media, right? Because it gives you news that it thinks you like. And so notice here, it doesn't even necessarily, many articles are fake, they're not true, or they're overblown, or they're hyped out, okay? But what ends up happening is, according to Yuval Harari, and here I'm using his research, what happens is, because they know what you like, and this is based off the previous paragraph, the attention engineers and the algorithms know what's going to keep you on there. They're sending you news that you will click on. They're sending you news that is going to kind of comfort your own ideas about the world, right? Okay, and actually make you more anxious, okay? And then sometimes, hey, the attention engineers will throw something totally crazy in your way to make you mad, to get you a reaction, and then you're going back to it. You're putting a comment on that fake news article, etc., okay? Body paragraph 9, I am confronting because I have just covered some pretty negative effects of social media. I am now asking the question, is social media mandatory? Okay, yeah, so we've got some negative effects, but can you get away from social media, right? In business, can you have a business without having social media? What about education, right? Can you imagine, right? Right now we're speaking through this technological medium because of the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And now I can imagine that we won't go back to the past, right? We're gonna be using more and more social media in education, right? Social media in health, right? And so is social media mandatory, right? Now, in this body paragraph, I would like to discuss Naomi Klein's video. She's an author, a scholar, and she recently did a video called Coronavirus Capitalism, right? And I think that would fit in very well to this. Well, so maybe social media does have a function. It's not maybe, it does. It can have a very positive function. However, at the same time, let's not dismiss the fact that many corporations are going to use this incident of the coronavirus pandemic as an opportunity to make money off you and to take advantage of you while everyone is in a panic, right? Body paragraph 10, what are these negative effects on individuals? Confusion, anxiety, depression, right? And here I would use a psychology or sociology scholarly article, right? Body paragraph 11, what can an individual do to ease the effects of social media on their life? Well, the most dramatic thing a person can do is to quit social media altogether, right? And so body paragraph 11 would be totally devoted to the topic of quitting social media, not minimizing it, but totally doing away with social media in a person's life, right? What would that take? What would that look like? I would discuss that in body paragraph 11, right? Body paragraph 12, however, I would discuss Cal Newport, and in his book called Deep Work, he discusses that, people may have the idea, oh yeah, no, I'll quit, sure, or I'll minimize my use, right? But the problem is that it's not that easy, right? You see it all around you. So you have, of course, there is a peer effect on you, but also there is an individual willpower problem with this, because you are Newport argues you have a finite amount of willpower, right? And many times, because of propaganda, because of peer pressure, because of business or education, health, etc., we deplete our willpower and just give in to social media. Body paragraphs 13 and 14, I would be discussing actual tips to quitting and or limiting social media, right? These are tips that individuals, singular individuals, can use so that they can keep their own mind and also not have the negative effects of social media overwhelming them in their own lives. Once again, I would use the scholar Cal Newport. Finally, I would have a conclusion paragraph. The conclusion paragraph wraps up all the ideas, okay? All right? I paraphrase my thesis statement. I give you my main points in a succinct fashion, and I end with something. Let's say, for example, for this essay, I might want to end with something positive, right? That you as an individual do have power, okay? Now, just to review here, I have a total of 16 paragraphs, which would equal approximately 10 MLA style pages. I have at least 8 sources that I can use for my research paper. I believe I have satisfied the prompt. Okay? Please have a great day. I will talk to you next time. Goodbye.